Well, the sun is now setting in Harrisburg, which is fitting because the sale is over. Our sale season is over. I thought we did very, very good at the sale. You know, every day you leave the sale and you think to yourself, did I miss something? You're left going over the pages. How much did this one go for? How much did that one go for? And I knew there was a great chance that the horse I stayed for, the horse I came back for, I was not going to be able to get today, and I didn't. His name was Fallout. That's racing. And that's sailing. I got the trotter I wanted in Go Boom. I thought for what we were trying to do, we needed open horse. We were always going to need that knowledge of 3, up to 7, up to 9, up to 10. We have enough horses that are knocking on the door of the open. We don't really need any of those horses. We do need a couple of hardcore open horses. That's for sure. I was the underbidder on one today, and as it turned out, the gentleman that bought the horse, I guess, was probably going to go a lot higher. So, whatever. It's not the end of the world. But when it comes to the babies, I can't remember. Do we have a number how many we actually ended up with in total? I think we're going to have a 53 or 54 or 55 in the barn. If I'm not mistaken, when it's all said and done. Am I wrong in saying that? I think that's it. Need a couple of horses sent to us this season. We had some homebreds. This is a first for us. Now, we always had 1 or 2 here or there. We have, 8 this year? 8 homebreds, which tied into our last video where I talked about how I spoke to John about, kind of shortening our roster of broodmares. We just can't keep them all, and quite frankly, they're expensive. If you've ever had one, times that by 12. They're expensive. So I think in keeping Melisandre, which I certainly have no problem with, we can focus on maybe shortening that herd, focusing maybe a little bit more on some of the pedigrees also. I liked a number of the horses I have nothing wrong with. I have no issues with a Muscle Chrome or Isa 10 or any of those horses. But when it comes to it, we do want to get good horses in there. And it's going to be slowly. There's going to be horses we can't afford to keep. But I think you have a horse like Melisandre, I don't think it makes any sense to sell. We paid a lot for her as a baby. And we could dump her, but why? If we were ever going to go and replace a horse out of our broodmare band. Okay? I guess it technically is out of our broodmare band. That would be the type of horse you'd want to do it with. So, although I thought she'd sell, and Steve was the one that put it the best. He said, if you just got to get up one time in 55, she probably would have fit right in there with those fabulous fillies types, and we likely would have got 65, 70 for it, which I think he's probably right. But you're always going to have regrets when you leave the sale. The one thing I will tell you, this is the one thing that I learned, is you're just going to have to deal with them. You're going to have regrets after every single sale, both for buying and for selling, or not buying and not selling. But I'm very, very happy with what we acquired. I want to go over some of them. Who's your favorite? Oh, the little squirrely-eyed guy. Who's your favorite? History?
Yeah.
He's your favorite? So there's a number of horses that Amy and I looked at that ended up being our favorites. And actually, was that your favorite horse when you went there and you looked at all the horses, though? You looked at all the horses. Was that actually your favorite, or is that the favorite one that we bought?
No, I would just say the favorite one that we bought.
Who was your favorite horse of the whole sale?
Oh, that's not very nice.
Why?
Nobody looked at.
One doesn't pop out? That you'd say, I really like that one. One doesn't pop out?
Yeah, there's a couple Chevrolet 7s.
Oh, which one?
We were never.
Oh, the one that Burke ended up with, I really liked. The number 126.
I like the one with blue chip.
Which one?
And I like that Level Up.
That was a pacer. Were you changing your mind
No,
on
I
Gates?
just, he's a nice looking horse.
He was, I liked him.
No, it was maybe she was a tactical landing at blue chip.
I don't know which one you mean. No, I can tell you my favorite. I have a favorite pacer on Trotter, actually. We were the underbidder on the Trotter, and we got the pacer, actually. I've told everybody, my favorite horse in the whole sale. You always come with that horse, I really, really like to get this horse. And every so often you do. Doesn't happen very often. First 4 or 5 years, I don't think we ever got a horse that we wanted. Ever. We just, thank you, sir, may I have another type thing. And over the last 3, 4, 5 years, we've always kind of got one that we really wanted. Atomic's Hanover was my top pacer, by far. I went out, before I got to the sale, I told you guys, before we ever went to the sale, my 2 top picks were stay hungry pacers. The one pacer didn't hit offset knees. Remember the one we looked at on day one? She offset knees. She was out. So by definition and by default alone, my number one pick in the wholesale was Atomic Hanover. That was mine. Now, my top trotter was 102. She was a tactile landing. Well, where'd you put your iPad, honey? You don't know. You just threw it away?
I think it's in that bag.
Which bag?
There's a blue
One. Oh, no. That horse, I didn't like that much. That was the one that Rick Zeron bought. I mean, I didn't mind it, but went for $130,000. Number 102, Duomo, was my top filly pick. Andrew Harris got this horse, and I also like the Chapter 7 that I believe Amy was talking about earlier, which was 126, Stellar Drift. Coyote Wind's got it. Who's the Burke horse that they got? We had a lot less horses on our list. Sorry. We had a lot less horses on our list this year, but of the ones that I wanted, we ended up with the Pacer and the underbidder on 102, I believe. When it comes to the horses themselves, you just can't. You trick yourself into thinking that has to be the one. And after doing this for quite a while and buying so many horses as we do, what you're left is understanding that with all the variables that you have, you hear me talk about this sometimes, with all the variables that go into training, with this horse these horses have to get from this sale to our barn unharmed. Then they have to stay healthy, stay sound. They have to break good. They have to have a nice gait. They have to train down all winter. They have to stay sound and healthy all winter long. Then they have to get to the track, unharmed, unhurt. They have to qualify. Then they have to get in with horses they can compete against, regardless of what they are now. We don't know how good or bad they are come June. And then if they still stay sick, or they still stay healthy, and they still stay sound all year long, and they are in with horses that they can compete with, and you just have to have somebody like me or anybody else drive them good. They have to draw good posts. Factor in all that stuff. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Whether I like Atomic Hanover, or it was even the filly or the horse with the offset knees, maybe he'll be the best horse next year. You can never tell. So Atomic Hanover was my top pick, and we ended up with him. Stay Charming, we talked about him. This guy on my pacer list would be somewhere around 7th or 8th on the pacers I liked. And again, we talked about this in the other video about how when you plan A, now our plan A at a sale is pretty fluid. There's a lot of horses in that top list. But after that, you start getting down to plan B, plan C, horses that make sense. But a lot of that is based on value. And when I priced Stay Charming out, I just thought that he was worth a lot more money than he went for. Now, again, what I shouldn't do is maybe go to the ring, but when I've already got the horse I want for that particular file, or bucket, as we call them, I still want to watch the horses go through, the other ones, if I can. Have a check mark beside them. They're already on my watch this horse list. And when I'm standing right there at the ring and I watch a horse that I had priced for $55,000 stall at 12, I'm going to bid 13 unless I absolutely shouldn't. And that's exactly what I did, and that's exactly how we got Stay Charming. Didn't need him. I had already filled. And this horse wasn't really the pedigree or the body to be our top pacer. But he was a darn good-looking horse. So 83 came our way, too. And where were you when I bought this colt?
I was just sitting down having lunch.
What about the Trotter?
No, sorry, that was for the second pacer.
I was joking. When I bought this colt, that was a filly. Incredible. Rob was right beside me.
I wasn't.
And we both had notes. I liked the horse a lot. But honestly, somehow this filly found her way into my colt list. I never noticed at the top. I had circled right beside where it says filly. I had circled Pennsylvania only. Pennsylvania only bred.
I know.
So usually,
I circled filly.
Did you?
On my book. So clearly I wasn't standing beside you when you bought this horse.
You weren't. Rob and I were standing there, and I was going to get out at 20. I had the horse priced at $24,000. But I didn't take a picture of his penis or her vagina. I took a picture of the horse.
Maybe you should.
Maybe I should have. What a beautiful horse she is, too. Anyway, if I liked the horse as a stallion for $24,000, I can guarantee you she's worth much more to me as a filly than that. But it's just one of those things where no, she wasn't worth more. And yes, I made a mistake. But man, what a good-looking filly she is. You guys are going to see all these horses. You know, somebody said you always say they're nice horses, but we video all our horses. It's not like I can say, Jesus, a nice horse, and comes out and looks like a donkey. You know, it's different. She is a good-looking horse, and you're going to see. The next horse, one of the easiest purchases we made, and thank goodness for timing, because I was the underbidder on a perfect sting I wanted early in the sale for 50, I think. 40, no, it must have been 50. And then the other filly we liked went for 175. And then here comes Mordecai Hanover in the ring. And we ended up, I thought I did a pretty good job bidding. I got her for $38,000. This was a late in day one pacing filly, and she was a good looking filly also. You know, this did exactly what we wanted and more. I mean, we talk about residual broodmare value. Mirage Hanover and Mad Max Hanover are both her brothers, right? And then you look down in the next dam and you have Macapello Sealster, Mohawk Sealster, all the Sealster horses are down there too. So very, very strong family and a very good looking family. When we talk about safety nets, you never know. We just bought back Melisandre. You never know, but looking at this pedigree, it's probably the right place to be, especially for $38,000. And then, as odd as it is, we have two of our newer, well, they aren't newer clients. They've been with us off and on for a while, and they were standing at the back ring. Now, on my pacing list, on my top pacing list, was number 223, Landlubber. Probably come in around 4th on my list, but again, I've already filled that bucket with Atomic Hanover. And Mr. Davidson had looked at me and said, are you betting on this guy? He's an Ontario client, so he wanted an Ontario colt. I said, well, sir, I already got my colt. And he looked down and he saw the price that I had marked on this horse. He goes, you really think he'll bring that? I said, well, that's what I thought he was worth yesterday.
What's the mare?
The mare's name is Stylish Beachwear. James actually, it was funny because James in New Zealand, and we're talking back and forth as the sale's on.
I just googled what a landlubber means.
Yeah.
It means a person unfamiliar with the sea or sailing.
Okay, cool.
Someone who's unfamiliar with sailing.
Okay, I'm not familiar with saying something that number myself. And James had said, so you got a Bulldog Hanover colt? I said, yeah, I got a Bulldog Hanover colt out of a sister to tattoo artist. He goes, what's the sister's name? I said, Stylish Beachwear. He said, I drove her most of her life. He said she was very, very fast. So James was really impressed. We ended up getting that horse, especially for 52. I'm not going to go into what I had priced the horses at, but I did price this guy quite a bit higher than 52. He would have fit our high-end bucket had I not got Atomics Hanover. He would have been... If I didn't get Atomics Hanover, I probably wouldn't have bought the other guy for 13 because I wasn't looking.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking for an add-on. I would have been looking for the horse. So I wouldn't have bought Stay Charming. And I probably would have made it all the way to Landlubber, truth be told. So my favorite horse from day 2, my favorite trotter from day 2, I told you I was the underbidder on my favorite trotter in total in the sale. We ended up getting the top pacer I wanted. My number 1 horse for day 2, and probably top 3 of the whole sale, was Cirrus. I like this horse. He's a tactical landing out of a habitat. I went over this the other night with you. The first drop of Muscle Hill blood in the top line was tactical landing in this mare. So you've gone from Chapter 7, Father Patrick. They've all admittedly been mediocre, but now you have Muscle Hill in this dam. And the last 2 looked a little dainty. I saw videos of them, but this guy is far from dainty. He is a big, strong colt, and just one of my favorites in the entire sale. Chips Ahoy Hanover, I think we landed on this horse just because we were trying to fill that Pennsylvania trotting bucket up. I had thought I got a head start with Incredible, then found out that she was in fact a filly, and then realized that I didn't think we were going to be able to fill that bucket up because the horses that we had left, not a lot of them were on our list that were PA breds, and it was really hard to find the Captain Corys, and I wasn't just going to go out and buy 3 Father Patricks just because. I am a little miffed. I meant to buy that Griff horse, the Father Patrick Griff horse, because he was a Virginia eligible also, and Cherry's girl coming home, or going to Virginia next year as the 3-year-old to race, and I was pretty certain that we could buy her sister. So I thought the Griff horse made sense. He was a Father Patrick Virginia bred. I really liked him, and I ended up being the underbidder on him. But I'm okay with that. Chips Ahoy Hanover was a horse that I thought, one, had a ridiculous name, whatever, and also a brother to Cecil Hanover with Atlanta in the second dam. So very, very well-bred Captain Corey Colt. I liked him a lot. He moved well in the field. He looked good. Everybody that was with us, our entire entourage, so to speak, loved Chips Ahoy Hanover. I thought he'd bring 50 or 60, and honestly, I hate saying this because it's kind of rude to the people that are putting it through, but I would have easily and happily bought him for 50 or 60, and we ended up getting him for $32,000. Really, really happy with Chips Ahoy Hanover. And then there's your boy, History Hanover. A lot of people messaging me on Facebook telling me what's wrong with the horse that we bought.
Oh, what is
He's a little back at his knees. He was really small, like a midget, which he isn't. He's bigger than, I'll tell you what he is. He's an above average size Chapter 7, who's actually a Walmer. That's what he is. He isn't a midget. He's a smaller horse. And the
I just
Walners...
saw a really small horse sell at the end.
160.
No, sell at the end of the sale for a lot
For
of
what?
money. For a lot of money.
Which one?
Security Protect is not a very big horse.
Oh, he's a bigger horse than that. He's a decently big horse. Security Protected.
He's also like 6.
That's true. He's 5. He's 5. So, History Hanover was just one of those anomalies in the sale. I've seen horses that stand off, and horses that are crooked, or horses that are legitimately small or ugly, and he's none of those. The little squirrely eyes on him, looking at you, the beady little eyes. He's just ready to do donuts and burnouts in any second. He just looks sharp. He just looks sharp. Nice horse. And when it comes to History Hanover, not to disrespect anybody or disagree with anybody, but no, I didn't find him, still don't find him back on his knees. I don't find him small. Somebody said he's got really tiny feet. I said, yeah, really tiny feet. He's got feet on him. He's got horse's feet on him. How big do you want them? I think what happened was a lot of people looked at what we paid for him and then accentuated what they had seen. Maybe they thought he was. Here's the thing about somebody saying he's back on his knees. It's pretty subjective. Horses with longer passions just stand straight up and down. People say, oh, he's back on his knees. Okay, cool. That's awesome. I get it. But it doesn't necessarily always mean that he actually is, as they say, back on their knees. I didn't find any real flaws with History Hanover. Was he smaller than what I would say an average Walner is?
Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe.
Because he has to race it.
He might have been a little smaller than the average Walner. I had somebody else come up to me and said, just so you know, all the best Walners and this is a pretty prominent trainer, all the best Walners I had, because they read the same comments, he said the same thing I just said. He said, oh, those are just people trying to figure out why they didn't buy the horse. And he said, honestly, all the better Walners I had were medium-sized horses. They weren't the big, giant Walners. I don't know if he's accurate, but it felt kind of nice him saying it. But either way, the one comment that was absolutely 100% accurate was, regardless if there's something wrong with him or not, for $27,000, he's $50,000 stud fee out of a $3 million winning mare that was one of the best mares of all time in our game. There's no way to chop it up. The horse was simply an easy purchase. And I think he stayed so low that people actually did second guess themselves when he was in the ring and say, oh, there has to be something drastically wrong with this horse. Because a horse like this breeding, if you're just going to the sale to buy an okay horse, you're probably not going to pull this guy out of the stall. And if you do pull him out of the stall, you're going to say to yourself, well, he's still handling a Hanover at a Walner. And then when the horse is in the ring and nobody's bidding on him, now everybody collectively says something must be wrong with this horse. There wasn't. That's my take on it. Have your own if you like. But History Hanover at $27,000. This is your favorite one.
So, well, remember we were going through the book, and we were like, okay, we gotta find our Trotter.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well,
this was going to be, this was going to be our high-end horse.
Because I said, this is an interesting horse because she said 2 foals, both of them were green shoes.
Yep, that's right. You were going through the catalog. That's right. Amy was going through the catalog the night before. I realized we didn't get our high-end one.
But I remembered that they paid a lot of money for them.
They paid $475 and $375 or $350 for the 2 green shoes that came out of this mare first. That's what they paid for them. That was the prices. And then one of our clients from Europe had messaged me and said, just so you know, Loxahatchee or whatever, I believe took a mark of 51 and a piece in Sweden this year and was doing very, very well. Made a break in the final of some stake race he was in.
Oh.
So
I don't know how big they are. Did you ask him?
no, I looked at the yearling video of one of them, and they both look pretty big, both of them. So none of that matters. This was, and Amy just hit a very good point. I looked at 9 horses on day 2 that by pedigree alone could be our top high-end trotter. This guy was number 1 on the top. And when we went to look at him, I still thought, and I told Randy and Bob and Rob that I'd happily go to 80. I did it again. It's not nice. I would happily go up. It's quite the lighting we got. I would happily go up to a lot higher. Let's just leave it at that. I would go a lot higher on this horse. I thought there was nothing wrong with him. I liked him a lot. And especially since the one we were the underbidders on the day before, the Chapter 7, was not much bigger than this guy, quite frankly. So I really did like him. And either way, we spent too much time talking about him. He was an easy purchase. It made all the sense in the world to buy him, and he's ours. And that's the easiest way to put him.
And there was a Chapter 7 that sold after him.
That was a midget. He sold for $160.
Literally was the same size as that horse.
No, he was much smaller than that horse. He was a little tiny.
He was a little.
Yeah, he was a little more bulldoggy. Yeah. So,
but I guess Chapter 7 still has to race at the Meadowlands.
No, they have to race in New York, right? But the Meadowlands also have an A and B division this year, which they never had before. And there's lots of racing for all these horses also in many places. Complete unknown, I didn't talk much about. I told everybody about Alan Swain, probably the salt of the earth, one of the nicest guys in the world you'll ever want to meet. And they bought their horse back. It was out of our former horse in Wellandown. You guys may remember her if you've been with us for 3-4 years. Wellandown was our filly, did pretty good with her. Very well bred. And Alan Swain and Bill Donnelly got a nice colt, I believe, out of her last year that they sold by Sweet Lou for quite a bit of money. And then this year, unfortunately, the Bettor's Wish didn't hit. People just, he wasn't in favor. That's what's being a breeder is so tough. You know, you breed to a horse like Bettor's Wish, and you're so hopeful. You bred to Sweet Lou, and everybody wanted the Sweet Lou, and then you come back with a Bettor's Wish. He's a good-looking colt, and nobody wanted him. So they bought him back, and he's going to be coming to our barn. Shares Aim will be up this week also for sale. We'll see what we do with Complete Unknown, number 631. And then 700 was easy. PJ's loving. Mr. Leaf, the breeder, had reached out to me a number of times over the last month. You know, one, asking about Cherry, and 2, reminding me that her half-sister by Father Patrick was in the sale. We ended up buying PJ's loving. This is the half-sister to Cherry's girl for $26,000. Now, we paid, what, 42 or 47 for Cherry last year, I believe? One or the other. Now, different model. This is Captain Corey is Cherry's girl. This one's, I would say, as long, but not as high as Cherry's girl was. So very well put together. I was happy with her. And then we finished off our day. I'll be frank, as I was yesterday with everybody. Our toughest thing to purchase was a New York bred. You know, all those Chapter 7s that we were underbidders on, at least 2, I think, or 3, and bid on 7 or 8. Never got one. I even bid on 3 Huntsvilles. Never got them. The back of the necks, we never got anywhere near. I look back. All of our favorite back of the neck, everybody in all our group, the favorite back of the neck went for 47, and we were the underbidders on it. The Pandora one from Blue Chip, that was my favorite back of the neck. We ended up settling, and it's not very fair to say that. We ended up purchasing Miss Lady May later on. Her video was very, very good. Her video dwarfed her Pedigree. Her Pedigree's a little soft, but wouldn't be the first horse that sold well. The other horse was soft Pedigree that was a colt later on, sold for 100. Yeah. You remember? And their pedigrees were not much different.
No.
So I was happy with Miss Lady May also, that we ended up getting her. So we brought in total 11 babies home with us. You were right. What's that?
The last one was a Gypsy.
I was going to say, where's the 12th horse? Gypsy Boy was the 12th one. This is Gypsy Hill's brother, or Gypsy, Renegade Gypsy's brother. For those of you, again, that have been with us for a little bit of a while, Renegade Gypsy did well for us in Ontario. We kept him, raced him. Burke raced him a little bit. I believe won an open with him for us in Indiana. We ended up selling him after his 4-year-old year. Is that correct? After his 4-year-old year, and this is his brother, who is now by Southwind Frank, which I think is a good cross, because the Southwind Franks are durable and they got speed, but a lot of them that we had anyway interfered a lot, and it's one thing that Renegade Gypsy didn't do was interfere a whole lot. So I think this is a good cross in that regard, mechanically speaking, and a horse that's going to have us a lot of fun. We get to go to Virginia next year. We get to go to Delaware next year, Dover, Delaware. Should be a lot of fun. Now that Ollie's over in the States, we'll go wherever we want. Ollie's going to be playing baseball in the States, which changes the entire 2026 landscape for this family. Baseball in Ontario went right through to September, right? But it's over in July in Ohio. And although there'll be other things for him to do, and I think there's other baseball programs to go through if he wants to, it will give us an opportunity as a family to maybe do a little more traveling this year coming up than we did in 2025. Are you excited?
I'm scared.
You're scared? Why? Virginia, Delaware, Kentucky. Lots of work to be done. So we have, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 54 or 55 babies in the barn now. The remaining shares and buckets will be up. I will tell you right now, go boom. To be fair to everybody, we had a long list of people that put their name in to buy horses with us, aged horses. They will get the opportunity to buy shares in Go Boom first and foremost, and then after that, if there's any shares left, they'll be up for sale tomorrow or the next day on the stable.ca. But our newest racehorse, thanks to Steve, who bid on the horse for us when we left. Thanks to Steve for doing that. We'll get Go Boom up and going soon. We'll get the babies back over the next few days. We'll get them all broken going. And we'll have some videos for you guys, I suspect. It's November 6th. Let's call it November the 25th. 19 days. For the Harrisburg horses, it won't be enough to really show you any speed, but for the horses that came in from the Ohio sale, or even some of them in Lexington, you'll see a little bit more of them. So, who's your most exciting purchase of the entire 2025 season?
Oh my god. I don't like these questions.
Putting you on the spot.
Most exciting? How? I can't pick one.
Your favorite, your most exciting acquisition stable made in 2025. You can use the homebreds too if you want.
No, that's not.
I'm going to use one of the homebreds. I'm doing two.
Yeah, but you got to think about it before you ask the question.
No, I didn't. I just put you on the spot and then thought I'm going to have to do it myself. I guess it's unfair because the trotter I'm going to use, or one of the trotters I'm going to use, is one of the horses that we just bought. And that is Cirrus. I absolutely love this horse. I love everything about him. So I'm going to use him. Do you want two?
Well, obviously I'm rooting for the really expensive King of the North.
Oh yeah, I like her too.
'Cause
But do you like her? Because you've gone with her a few times. Highland Fire
I told you
Nice?
I wasn't going to get attached to her. You sent her away.
Oh my god. So you're going to root for her, but I'm asking you which ones, breeding or horses that you jog, which ones are you most interested in? I'm going to give us both one. Money's Tied Up is a horse that I think looks amazing on the track. Well, that's for both of us because you've gone jogged her and I've jogged her. She looks amazing on the track. Cirrus, I can't wait to go with him. And of course, I have favorites from Lexington, but this guy just looks like a stick of dynamite on the track. I like everything about him. So you get one horse.
The Pilot filly.
Ooh, my girl, the Pilot filly. I loved her too. That was one of my top picks in the sale, and I really, really liked. Yes, she was. Pilot filly, my Lexington sale. Was she?
She wasn't on your radar until we went to look at her and we're like, you have to look at this horse. Or you have to, and then I kept
I don't remember it that way at all.
to wait, because you kept on wanting to buy them once before her, and I was like, wait, because she's coming up.
I don't remember it that way at all. I don't. But I do love that filly. And I really, really, it's a French Champagne Problems filly. Really like her. And especially, I don't know if they're related, but the Champagne ones that went yesterday at the sale on the broodmare side.
Same with the Ariana G, the Superway.
Yeah, Superway's. There's a funny little story for everybody. So Superway's mom, Ariana G, in foal to Walner, so whatever foal is in her belly right now, that full sibling we bought this year as a yearling in Superway for $25,000, and she sold for $360 in foal to Walner, which was interesting. Just so many angles of the sale and so many things to look at.
We got like a bunch of well-bred horses that we didn't pay a ton of money for. So
that's the plan. That's the job. Our job is to find the most value everywhere we can. I think we did it with the aged horse. I think we did it with the Harrisburg sale and the babies. Now, the one thing that John pointed out was that we didn't get a lot of fillies in Harrisburg, but we got a ton of fillies in Lexington.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we did buy a lot of colts.
We did. We bought a lot of colts in this sale, but we got a ton of fillies in the Lexington sale. So who knows why or how it happened, but I think we've done a great job. From Ohio to Ontario with the gentleman that had the brother to Sunday Royale come up to me today in the sale, introduced himself. Yeah, he was very pleased. He said he loves the family and asked how we liked the colt. I said, well, if I'm going to be completely honest, I haven't sat behind him yet. My brother has, and he really likes him. So everybody likes the horse in Ontario. So that is a wrap, as I said, on sales season 2025. Really excited with what we've done in Harrisburg, what we were able to do in Lexington and London and Ohio. Again, just my utmost appreciation to everybody for partnering with us. It means a lot to Amy and I. Obviously, we wouldn't be in business if it wasn't for you. So thank you very much for your trust in us, and we will do the best job we can breaking, training, and racing these babies through 2025 and 2026. Anything to add? What about Starbucks? Can you find that?
I'm so thirsty.
I know. Could you find us a Starbucks that's coming up?
Do you see where we're at?
There's one on the highway up here, I'm telling you. Anyway, I'm looking for a Starbucks. Take care, everybody.